Happy Saturday, everyone. Welcome to Satsang on this very, very special occasion where we honor Guru, and we are here to speak about service, which is going to be a beautiful topic. Just to begin, I would like to play some drumming and some chimes and do some very gentle breath work with us just to get us ready. So please relax, take some lovely deep breaths and enjoy. Now start to take some big deep breaths in through your nose, all the way down your center, and feel your stomach inflate with fresh energy, fresh air and the light. As you breathe in the light all the way down and fill up your entire being with it. As you breathe out, breathe away all your stresses, all of your anxieties, and relax. Continue to take flowing breaths. Feel your body settle. Feel yourself connect to the energy around you and the light. Connect your breath to the light and feel your whole energy shift, and feel your body grounding and centering and preparing for this beautiful session that we're all going to experience today. Take a lovely deep breath in now, in through the nose. Hold it and slowly breathe out. And again, breathe in, hold, and slowly breathe out. Now I'm going to pass you over to the Satsang workshop. And again, I'd like to welcome everyone and thank you all for being here with us today and experience this all together as a community. So I will pass you on and I'll speak to you later.
Good morning and namaskar, everyone. We are here feeling very blessed to be here live in Virginia for the annual Guru Purnima retreat that Sanjeev ji hosts in Virginia, and truly blessed to be able to be here. The topic for the retreat is service. So it is a very common word. Everyone is familiar with it. All of us are doing, performing some kind of service within our families, around us, our work, neighbors, and also the community at large. So it is very obvious that service helps the person or the organization that we are trying to help. But it's important to note that service really helps the person performing it. So this is a very important concept and it sometimes gets lost. But the person who is performing the service benefits from the service they are performing. So how much benefit can someone derive from something that they're doing for others? Now, this amount of benefit directly depends on the motivation that the person has to perform the service. So commonly when something is, when we perform a service, we get some benefit from it, some tangible benefit, like, we get recognized for it. Sometimes the names are published on a list. Sometimes there's a direct reward. Sometimes there's a hidden agenda. We want to rise within an organization. We want to curry favor. We want to do something for someone that may need to do something for us later on. And sometimes we just want to do it for show, like, okay, so-and-so is doing something. We want everyone to be aware of that. So all of these situations is where we are directly benefiting from the service. And on the other hand, is service performed selflessly, anonymously, or in such a way where we would not get any benefit from it. So Guru Maharaj, who is the founder of our Ramashram Satsang, has mentioned service multiple times in many books, many articles, and he tries to differentiate between these two kinds of service. The one done with benefit in mind, or called Sakam service in Hindi, and Nishkam service, or selfless service, where we are not doing it with any kind of expectation in return. So what he tries to say, and what is now, well established, that the effect of the service we do multiplies if we do it without any expectation of a return, if we do it truly selflessly. In that case, someone would be doing it just out of pure intention or a sense of love, or we consider it our duty. We consider it our duty to help our parents, our children, or we are doing it out of a true sense of empathy. We see people around us, we feel connected, a feeling of oneness or connectedness to those around us. And then we have some resources that others don't, and then we try to share them. So if our service is motivated by these factors and not any kind of tangible return, that is the goal. That would bring us the kind of benefits that would help us progress. So Guru Maharaj also, goes on to describe different kinds of service. So in order of increasing importance or being better kinds of service. So the first kind he describes as physical service. Okay, so we are there to help. Someone is, setting up for an event. People are needed, volunteers to help, serve food. You mow the garden, you mow the lawn for a neighbor. You are physically there helping someone who needs help. That's physical service. Then there's material service, where you have resources that someone else needs and you're sharing them. So you're providing food for, a shelter, you're sponsoring someone's education, all kinds of charitable donations where you think you have the resources, you're able to help for some good cause. That's material service. Then something even better, emotional service. So there are people around us who might not be feeling very happy. Something bad happened to, in their lives, or they're dealing with a crisis. You donate your time. You go talk to them. A friend is not having a good time. You go out for lunch, talk to them, make them feel better. You have a skill. You provide mentorship, guidance. At the level of the mind, you are working to help someone else feel better. And that would be emotional service. And then is what he considers the highest kind of service, also called spiritual service, where, so there's a prerequisite for that. So it would have to be someone who is already on the path, on their spiritual journey, and whoever, themselves achieved a higher state of consciousness. And if they help that, if they share the light that they have to elevate the level of consciousness, elevate the spiritual state of people around them, that would be called spiritual service. And of course, that is the highest kind of service, but we have to first reach a level where we are able to provide that kind of service. Because what he says is like the first three kinds of service, so where you're helping out physically by donations or spending time, it definitely helps. But then after some time, the funds run out. We have to donate again, maybe, or the next event comes around. The friend has another crisis. Then again, it would be needed. It would be required for us to go and help again. But if we are helping elevate someone spiritually, help them achieve higher ground, that of course the effects last more, which is why he emphasizes that. So as we progress on our respective spiritual journeys, we should try our best to serve. Of course, serving for whatever purpose helps the community, helps others. But we have to really make an effort to try to make it selfless. because if we get any benefit from it, it feeds the ego. And the ego is a very powerful thing, and it has been called one of the largest impediments as we try to progress. Because it's very difficult to do, easier said than done. So even if we don't expect anything in return, like deep down we might feel, oh, that person didn't even mention it, or they have forgotten what I did for them. And so trying to guard against all of that requires a lot of effort, easier said than done, where you say like completely try to detach yourself from benefits. It is something which instinctively is hard to do, but that should be our goal, our aim. So true service performed really with the goodness of our heart would help us progress. And that is what Guru Maharaj also states. In our Ramashram Satsang, there are two basic elements of the journey, multiple, but two important ones, being meditation and then service. In fact, Guru Maharaj says in his books that true service done selflessly is the shortest way, of the fastest path to progress on this journey. So when we perform that, we don't feed our ego, we try to do things for others. So what mindfulness does, meditation, is we meditate on transcendental light, we manifest it in our heart, we are able to see inside, we are able to find the divine within us. But when we serve others, we try to find the light, and we can find it in others. So that same light is present in everyone, and true service helps us find that. Our heart opens up, the boundaries expand, we go from my work, my people, my family, my progress to others. We try to see everyone as a part of the whole. We feel connected. It opens our heart. So this is the path to true inner joy, inner bliss, inner peace. So we should all seek blessings of the higher powers to ask them to help all of us be able to perform service truly without any expectation of a return, so that we could all continue to progress on this path to where we are going next. Thank you. Nishkam.
So let's meditate on it. Before we go into meditation, all I would say is that service and meditation so service and meditation in some ways are synonyms, but not really, in the sense that if meditation is helping you to operate at a higher level, or your journey is taking you to higher levels of consciousness, higher level of awareness, higher level of operating at that level, the eventual the progress should lead to a state where we have talked about in earlier sessions, love, light, and peace is with you in abundance. And if that happens, when you feel the love for which is universal, unconditional, selfless for others, service happens effortlessly. So in a way, if you are progressing spiritually, you should land up in the land of service. Guru Maharaj says that the best way to make yourself happier, more joyful, more, satisfied in your life, the shortest path is service. That's what we were hearing just now. And it can be very, very, very simple. You can be kind, you can just smile, share things like what I learned from this family, especially my mother, grandmother, and the ladies of this lineage, is that you can just listen to people. And when people share their problems, their issues, you be there for them. Your entire attention is on them. That makes that person feel that there is somebody who cares. And we all can do that, so far as we bring our attention from me to, share, give, and care about others and people around us. So let's meditate on it. After the meditation, we can continue the discussion and this topic further. So let's sit in a relaxed and still posture. Eyes lightly closed, because when the sensory input comes through the eyes, we get distracted. When body moves, our mind gets distracted. If there is any strain anywhere, our attention goes there. We want to focus on the presence of this transcendental energy in form of light, and that this light is coming into our heart, enlightening it, and then distributing throughout our body to the point that we become the light. So eyes lightly closed, still and relaxed posture, and feel the presence of a conscious source of this transcendental energy in form of light. This light is entering your heart, distributing throughout your body, and you are becoming completely and totally immersed in the light. So for next 15-20 minutes, you do mindfulness, breath work. You can do before, as we did, and after. But during this time, we're doing nothing. We're just observing this transcendental energy in form of light. That light is entering our heart, distributing throughout our body, and we're becoming one with this light. Mind will wander away, which is natural. We just bring it back to this thought and this thought alone, that this transcendental energy in form of light is entering our heart, distributing throughout our body, and we are becoming one with this light. We'll start with music. Music helps concentration, and then music fades away, and we go deep into silent meditation on this transcendental light. And then we transition out with music again. Let's start now. and welcome everyone online. And we will have a Q&A session shortly, both for focused on anyone online wants to introduce or share comments, thoughts, or questions, as well as the young folks here. And before that, I think I would like Parul to talk about the topic from the youngsters' point of view. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey. Hi, everyone, and happy Saturday, especially to everybody on Zoom. I think we had an amazing session today on service, and thank you, Anita Auntie, for laying out the steps for us, the levels of service that, we will reach eventually. And Dad for grounding it down and helping us realize that it's simple. So I'm not sure if it's going to be specifically for the youngsters, but I wrote a little bit on service, and usually when I come on, especially on the Zooms, I just provide a little food for thought, something for us to leave the session with. So on the topic of service today, I got to thinking about a question. What does our guru want from us? Because of course, being of service to the world is amazing, to volunteer, to help with a nonprofit, to put money, power, or even fame away, to put our egos down and be of service to something greater than us physically is what helps us to be more spiritual internally. But there's another aspect to service. What in our lives are we serving? Is it the higher power or is it ourselves? So ultimately, the guru wants us to grow. And what is spiritual growth? It's being less reactive, less judgmental, more full of joy and more full of love, to truly connect, not even with peace at times, but bliss. Like you're flying on a high in connection with the divine. So the question isn't always, how can I be of service physically? But sometimes the question is, how can I be of service to my guru, my God, the universe, whatever you choose to believe in? And ultimately, the question is, how can I grow? So what does that look like in everyday life? That boss that's torturing you is not torturing you for fun. You signed up for this lesson for your soul to evolve. So how can you detach from the human experience and connect to the higher experience? What are you being taught by the divine in this very moment? How can you shift to a higher level of consciousness and see that this event occurring is divinely orchestrated to make you closer with your highest power, with the highest light? It asks you to lean on that light, leave your worries with that light. A daughter and a mother who are constantly fighting, they can't seem to see eye to eye, or they can't stop judging each other and putting the other person in a box, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. It feels impossible to deal with in the moment. But the truth is that both parties are operating out of the lower level self, and that's the ego. So the guru is asking, hey, can I be included in this? Can I help you to transcend this? Can I help you to get past this? And the ask is to plug in now and not later. So to shift this moment now in connection with that highest energy, that will provide a solution for you. Not from a place of ego or the mind or the identity or pride, but from a place of higher level soul, from a peaceful place. Your spouse is controlling everything at home and you just want to be free. But the thing is, you already are free. So you reconnect with that essence within the essence of freedom, and you see how the external adjusts. Your job is to become unshakable in your faith and in your connection. The gift of everything going on in your life is that your guru is teaching you acceptance, resilience, strength. Why? Because the ultimate essence of the guru is unconditional love. So how can you operate in a space of unconditional love if you're still dealing with fear and shame and guilt and greed and anger? Oftentimes the guilt of your own mistakes. So from the guru's perspective, you living in this world, in this illusion, is the physical representation of your chance to grow and to transform. So in every interaction, ask yourself, is divine energy included here, or is it ego energy? Is it me who did great work today, or is it the connection to my guru that allowed me to do good work today? So thank you, guru. Do I need to react today, or is my only job to take a step back, go into meditation, and pray for that person today? Connect so deeply with the divine, become an embodiment of that essence, fully and completely surrendering to that higher power, and then going and having a conversation. And then going and letting the true decision or action arise. That's the difference between living from ego and actually serving your guru, which is to understand that when you truly connect, the divine will be seen in all things. That energy will lead you and guide you. That energy will provide solutions and bring peace to your heart, and peace will vibrate within your heart. So your job is to leave your worries with your guru, but also connect so deeply and so frequently that the way you see the world and the way you interact with the world shifts. And remember to ask, am I in service of my guru today, or am I in service of myself and my own needs and my own way? Am I going to grow and be present and live from the heart space today, or will I react, shut down, avoid, play so much into this reality that I forget that the highest version of my soul is knocking on the door, but I'm not hearing it? So plug into your source and choose to reconnect rather than choosing to disconnect. Some of us believe that it's our duty to serve, to work, to have the responsibilities of living in this world and taking care of our families, which is really important. But we don't recognize that a big part of our duty on the spiritual path is to have a warrior spirit and a peaceful heart, to live from the essence of pure joy, presence, bliss, kindness, empathy, and love. And aligning with that energy will shift even our physical environments for the better. So today, choose to connect, choose to grow, and choose to serve Guru and not yourself.
Thank you. So, yeah, let's now open up for questions here as well as online. So you can, folks online can just, Pablo, if you can allow unmuting. Anything here? Everything is very quiet. So you will have to wait for the mic. And the caller one too.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It was a wonderful session that we all could relate to. So as we mentioned that with selfless service, also some component of ego everybody develops. So how are some and Anitaji mentioned that ego is one of the biggest impediment to our spiritual progress. So what are some small steps we can take to crush the ego and not let it develop? I know with meditation, you eventually develop that strength, but what are some like beginners should do to prevent development of ego? That listen, I had the ability to do this for somebody, call in a prescription. Look, I had like small things, that.
Yeah, baby steps towards what would be detachment.
I think ego is something that, I was just gives us false sense that it was me who did this for somebody because I had the ability to do this.
So interesting thing is that our identity or ego has to be involved. We need to be in it. The entire system we have needs to go after the goal or what we're trying to do. So one thing that's coming to my mind is, do we, so one of the tenets Guru Maharaj talked about was like, do you feel that you are owner of something or you are caretaking? So caretaker and owner concept he introduced, which differentiates between, so the example that came to my mind was, let's say there is a hotel and there is an owner. Something happens to the hotel or let's just say the theft happened. The owner gets affected because something was lost there. And we operate that way most of the time. But then there is a hotel manager. He's responsible for taking care of the hotel, but he's not the owner. Now, when manager operates, he does everything. He looks after the security. He looks after all the operating principles and everything. He's taking care of those aspects. But then, if that happens, the manager is like, yeah, I tried everything, but now because he's not the owner is affected, not the manager. So if we operate as a manager rather than an owner, and Guru Maharaj was able to apply that to his family, to his satsang life, to everything in that he was managing rather than owning. And that subtle difference makes a whole lot of, and there was actually a discussion. I was in New Jersey, and there was a discussion that the neighbor's car got totaled. So we just talked about it. Yeah, something happened. But if your car gets totaled, you're rattled, right? That's the difference between the ownership and even if so when you think that something is somebody else's and you're taking care of it versus, so, and what I wanted to start with was that most of the things that we have going on in our lives, and I was having a conversation yesterday, talk about your family, your job, uh, your own things. How much control do you really have? When you think about it, it's very, very, very little. It's actually very interesting, but I just recall, so I'll share that with you. We think that, a lot of things that we are doing is all conscious decisions. But if you really look at your brain, how it operates, it's like 95% of the decisions are reflex actions. Only 5% of your day-to-day decisions are actually conscious decisions. So think about that. So, but yeah, so all I'm saying is like, if we just start thinking more on the lines of how can we detach ourselves from this concept of ownership, because how much do we really own? We are ourselves temporary. We won't take anything. We didn't come with anything. So, you know.
I have a question.
Hello, everyone. So when we came to this, and we heard things we should be doing and not be acting with our ego, and we should be thinking of service. It's all good learning, but what if we have done it? We have acted with our ego, and now how do we get past this? How do we forgive ourselves and then move on? Like that transition, I think sometimes it's very difficult, and we start living in the past and judging ourselves, and how do we get out of it to move on?
So are you saying that even if we get our act together today, there are things in the past that come to haunt us?
I mean, if today is the day we say, okay, this is not what I want to identify myself with, right? How do we move past it? Because yes, it's very easy to say, yes, I will act in a good way. But then how do I forget my past, right? What I have done in my past? How do that keeps on haunting you at every time. So the question is, how do we move on?
So think about like whenever you wake up, it's morning. So actually, there are a lot of ways that we have been taught to deal with these things, because there are ways to repent, there are ways to confess, there are ways to, you know, uh, analyze our weaknesses and work on them. But Guru Maharaj's view was very, very, very different. His view was that, okay, let's say all of the past was, and it's not all of it, right? It's some of it. So there is darkness, weakness, right? So let's take darkness, for example. So yesterday we were talking about this, that there's a basement, that's our past, let's say. And we walk into the basement, it's all dark. But you put the light switch on, there's no darkness. So if we all had that light switch, so bring light in. Once the light is there, there is no darkness. Once you connect with the, so you embody transcendental energy, you embody the light, then where is the darkness? So if that energy is unfathomable and you embody that, where's the past is gone. Right now, just enjoy what you got. So the thing is that once you learn to live with love, light, and peace, or once you embody that. So I was thinking about service in that context. So let's say you start meditating and you get to a higher power, to a point where, from Annamay to Pranmay to Manomay to Vigyanmay to Anandmay. So basically the 5 realms, the realm of the word, realm of life, realm of the mind, then realm of knowledge, and realm of love. So as soon as so our meditation is in the third realm already. And as you're saying, let's say if I get my act together, across the third realm, I come into the land of the light. Once I come to that knowledge, that's dispelling the ignorance, that's, energy. So all that happens, the third eye opens up. So what happens when the light is there? What you see is that how am I connected with the nature? How am I connected with each other? How am I, how my serving everybody actually serves myself? Once that happens, love is there. So unconditional, selfless love comes in. And when all that happens, because now you have intrinsically gone past the differentiations, comparisons, and all these things, then peace is there, right? So now think of the same thing as I embody light, I embody love, and I embody peace because I'm operating at that level. Then what is service? Because you're being somewhere, because you have love, light, and peace in abundance, you share with everyone. So you don't have to do anything. So that's the concept of satsang. So we sit together, we embody the light, we then grow to embody the universal love. The connection becomes very, familiarity to a level that this bond is not any other bond that we have. And that brings this, so that's satsang. So what I saw in the leaders of satsang is that they embody love, light, and peace to a level that is splashing, it's sharing without doing anything. They don't have to do anything. You just be in their presence and love, light, and peace can be felt. So if you want to really operate at that level, not only you will help yourself, you will help others effortlessly. So the question of the past is still when you are not fully embodying all this, because then there is no time for going in the past because you are just enjoying where you are, right? The bliss. If I am like in unlimited bliss and joy, why would I go anywhere else? Why do I need to turn back? It's the thought that takes us back. Meditation takes us to thoughtless state, so you can't go back. You don't need to go back. And once you start living in the present moment and in this deep bliss, there is no need to. There is no necessity or and we are creatures of habit. That's why it continues to take us back there. Then that's why there is need for practice. You keep practicing, practice to a point where that becomes the way of life. Yeah.
Hello. I just want to make a comment about Dipaliji's question.
It's not on.
It's not on?
Yeah.
Thank you. Just wanted to make a comment about Dipaliji's question and she mentioned that ego is the biggest hurdle towards service. So my feeling is that the short answer is that service is the solution to ego. So once you start doing service, and even at the smallest level, first thing you can do is, you can start by respecting other people. So once you start doing that, your ego will slowly and slowly be satisfied, and you continue to do that. And over time, you will feel that as you do more and more service and more service towards people, which is selfless, your ego will be satisfied more. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Absolutely. So, Christy?
Hello, everyone. This has been incredible. Thank you for all of the knowledge that you're sharing. If I may, I just wanted to read something small that I wrote on this topic. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay. So I wrote, this has been humbling, beautiful, thought-invoking and inspiring. The subject of service can sometimes be one that can create guilt or feelings of defensiveness because life can be so busy. Some people feel bad that they don't do enough service for others, if any at all. But it needn't be that way, because I can bet anything that you do service without even realising it. If you're a parent, you look after your children. This has been mentioned already today. I know that you would sacrifice for them, you provide what you can for their well-being, and that would go for any family member. If a co-worker or a friend has come to you with something on their mind and needed someone to just talk to, I bet you listened and maybe gave advice. That too is service. If you've passed by a homeless person, gave them some change, got them some food, or even just smiled and said hello, that is service. Guru would want us to just bring light in any way that we can, and a smile shows light and a smile shows love. When your heart feels good, light and positive after doing any of these things, you have connected to the light of giving. And there are so many things that we have to do in our daily lives: work, family, studies, commuting, dealing with finances. All these things block us on our lower level. They block our consciousness and our awareness, so that when we do any acts of service, we do it unknowingly, and then we don't connect to our heart and the light. So for me, I feel that being consciously aware of these things is so important for us all to do. Then you will realise that you are doing something for someone. You are doing service. We need to talk about this more. And if you do think, oh, I'm just too busy, I can't, think about your priorities and what will help you grow spiritually and as a human being. Time feels short and it feels like there aren't enough hours in the day. But time is everything to some people, and your time could mean everything to one person. Just check in on them. If you know someone's struggling, give them a call, and that will make a difference to them. It may seem like a small act of kindness, but that ripple will grow wider than you can imagine. And the spiritual ramifications for your heart and your soul, the fulfillment, that will go beyond any satisfaction that you will get from ticking off a daily to-do list. I know I have to-do lists, and rather than feeling satisfied at the end of the day, I just feel more stressed. So I've had to move away from that and focus on service. So I hope that this can all sink in. And again, thank you to all of the revered panelists who have shared their wisdom, and to Sanjeev Kumarji and Parul. I'll stop talking now. Thank you, everyone.
Anyone else online?
We have many online, but off video.
Okay. So any other thoughts or questions in here?
Question.
Chitra. You're asking.
Pranam, everyone.
Hello, everyone. So, Vijay, you mentioned about staying in the bliss.
This
So, we
small,
have 24 hours in a day. And if we dedicate 30 minutes to meditation, evening and afternoon, morning on a daily basis, the rest hours are hours where we are engulfed with life realities, with job, someone struggling with health challenges, somebody suffering from fear of the unknown. How do we overpower all those realities and stay in that bliss, in that present moment throughout the day? It would be amazing if you can just give us some tips how we can at least take some baby steps to continue that bliss and transcendental energy that we have experienced during our prayer time and radiate that throughout the day on a daily basis. Thank you.
so I actually have a video on the English YouTube channel which talks about how do you connect, orient yourself, put the attention towards this source of unfathomable transcendental energy, and then how do you store it? So like connect and receive is one part, but then how much can you store? What's your capacity? Because, our lives should be like the solar cell, that when it's daytime, which is when we are in good mood, good energy, good, everything is good, and we're connected to this source of happiness, peace, and but then there is this dark night that comes where we are not feeling any of that. So the solar cell collects the energy while the sun was there, and then when the darkness comes, it uses that energy to light up, right? So if we could do the same thing inside, that'll be good, right? So when I'm feeling down, I could energize myself with so it's not just the instant embodiment that I do during meditation. If I could leverage it at other times as well. So the way it works is that when you are able to, so the first step, the meditation, the initial step is that you orient yourself, you connect, and you start receiving the energy. That itself is not easy because, as you said, there are so many thoughts, there are so many things that we're doing. Just concentrating on receiving the energy takes time, takes practice, right? But as you move into this journey, you move deeper into the practice, actually you are able to increase not just the depth of embodiment, but this storage and capacity increases almost, intrinsically. Just so what I saw, with our satsang folks, that there are 3 stages. First stage is that yes, you feel good during meditation and there is no impact outside of it. But then the second stage comes when you absorb. So, for example, you come here, you feel you're embodied, embodying this energy, and then you go back for a few days, you feel relatively better, right? But if that could go, so there are 2 ways. Either you replenish the energy more frequently. So the whole idea of 30 minutes in the morning and 30 minutes in the evening was that you replenish your energy, and whatever gets depleted during the day, replenish again in the evening. And, and keep that cycle on. Like we do the satsang workshop, for example, every week. So every week, the group session, gives you a shot of that, higher dose of that. And then you go through the next week and the next week. So one is the frequency of group sessions, frequency of deeper sessions, and so on and so forth. And the consistency of the daily sessions. But then if you continue this within weeks, you get to a point where your capacity is increasing, your absorption is increasing, and hence you're able to take this, while you're working, your reactions are different. Your behavior overall, your anger, your even envy, greed, all those things get affected. But the thing is, like, the quality of connection, I think, is the key here. One, and then the consistency of practice. So those two things then create the dial.
There are few people who joined long time or online.
So what should I say?
जी.
Just so so online, is there so I think we have been having this satsang workshop weekly for some time, and I'm really grateful for those people who keep that going. If there is any other thoughts, comments, or questions from online, otherwise start wrapping it up. Shall we wrap up the online session now?
I guess so. No questions coming in right now. Prasad.
So the whole idea of embodying this transcendental energy and being able to store it. So first, connection, orientation, attention, all that is required. And then, your receiving ability and your storing ability. So all that is within the embodiment of transcendental energy. So one other thing that's traditional and has been on that, when you meditate, if you keep any food that you like, the same energy that you're receiving, the food will receive. Now, that food, when you consume, because you have stopped your meditation, but the food that you consume stays with you for a longer period of time. So that was another way. I think you, even in the religious places, the food is always connected with the rituals. And the food is because if you embody the transcendental energy in the food and consume it, that stays longer within you. So what you eat, you become. And what you think you become is meditation. What you eat, you become as well. So we will offer this sweet and just meditate for 2 more minutes, that the same transcendental energy that we just embodied is embodied in it, so that when we consume it, it stays with us and makes our practice deeper, stronger, better. Okay. Oh, yeah. Where is the mic? Oh. So there is one more question, and then we'll have a song to wrap up as well.
So in normal day-to-day action, sometimes it is very black and white. You can understand when you're coming from ego and where it's natural. But there are very finer situations also in day-to-day interaction, where it's not very easy to determine whether you responded to your ego or whether it's from the natural logical response. So how to identify that, whether you're coming from ego or you're coming from a natural response?
So I think I had read one thing in Guru Maharaj's books. I'll try to recall as much as I can. So his view was that when we only keep our own perspective, our own advantage in mind, it's very selfish. But if we keep the greater good in mind, if we think about the other person before we think too much about ourselves, then you have turned the corner. So if we were thinking of others more than ourselves, obviously you have to take care of yourself, right? So, but sometimes we are angry on even our own kids and all, just because what happened at work, right? Or just because somebody said something to you and you were not in the right state of mind, and it comes out on someone else, right? That is, I mean, one, we lack of control, right? But if we were thinking, what's the effect on that other person? Our perspective will change completely. But we are so consumed by emotions, and that meditation affects that that's the first step. Like, you meditate, your ability to control your emotions, especially our meditation, it's like you just have to do a little bit, and that comes through. right? But because we are so ingrained in this culture of I want this, I'm achieving this, you know, and we have, so part of that is fine. The second part is like, am I doing it for myself or others? Am I thinking about, so always like if, as soon as you bring the other's perspectives in, now you are diving it right. Which is where,
Just say, or he, this is some soft as the
shock absorber.
Yeah, you are running on the smooth, but when all of a sudden a ditch comes, so that's what the meditation power gives you. That when it comes in the life, you absorb it.
So for the folks online, basically think of meditation as the shock absorbers in the car. So, you know, when you go in the tougher terrain, the, you know, ups and downs still happen, but they will be toned down. The shock will be absorbed. Actually, that I have seen in Satsang, the people who I got mentored by and who I respected through my life, they were like, their shock absorbers were, I think, were like Rolls Royce, I guess. Because I read it somewhere, and you know, those cars were like absolutely smooth.
Doesn't get them.
So yeah, have a shock absorber like that.
That's kept in mind.
So, shall we wrap up online or anything else anybody wants to say? Thanks. Thank you, everyone, for being here, and love, light, and peace be with you. Thank you.
Namaste.
नमस्कार मनोज.
नमस्ते भाई साहब, सभी को नमस्ते.
Hi, AC. नूतन जी, महिमा जी, राव साहब, भाभी जी, चंदन जी, चांद जी. नमस्कार.
सादर प्रणाम भैया जी.
नमस्कार, नमस्कार. नमस्कार मिनी.
नमस्ते भैया, सबको प्रणाम.
प्रणाम चाचा जी, सभी को प्रणाम.
नमस्कार महिमा जी, सुलेखा जी, ईश, अजय, अलका जी, अशोक. नमस्कार बबीता
जी भैया.
सादर प्रणाम भैया.
नमस्कार.
सबको प्रणाम.
प्रणाम भैया. भैया
प्रणाम मामा.
नमस्कार, नमस्कार.
सादर प्रणाम भैया.
नमस्कार.
सादर प्रणाम.
नमस्कार संगीता जी. नमस्कार विपुल भाई सर. नमस्कार.
राधा चरण पर शंकर जी, संजीव भैया.
नमस्कार, नमस्कार. चलो ठीक है, फिर यहाँ से रैप अप करते हैं। बेटा, सबको नमस्कार।